Welcome to Monday. Let's hit a couple things quickly, if you guys don't mind, and then I'll maybe turn you loose in your assignments. One is, for those Friday, we did have a little bonus quiz. I see only 2 people actually submitted answers for that bonus quiz to the Dropbox, so it's just an FYI. Will I do that regularly? Yes. Okay. It's your choice, and that's just to kind of get you here to class, number one, or if you're a distant student, make sure you're listening to the videos. Okay. They'll become kind of increasingly complex as we get into more complex material. I'll oftentimes try to make it kind of match up with what we're working on. So be prepared. My favorite time to do those is Fridays when people are gone for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean I won't do it on other days too. In fact, if I show up and there's 3 people in class, you can almost guarantee I'll do a bonus quiz that day for reward the 3 people that are here. So is it going to hurt you if you don't? No, I'm not. It's not a negative. Okay, it's just a bonus for those people that do show up. Okay, so that's one. 2, I want to talk about both projects a little bit today, right? We've got Project 1 and Project 2. Project 1 is going to be done the first half of the semester, and we're into the 3rd week, so we're going to have about another 3 or 4 weeks to get that finished, and so I kind of want you guys starting on that. Some of you have probably already taken, you took entrepreneurship, right? Yeah, if you've had entrepreneurship, you've kind of taken these classes out of order. You're going to find this to be relatively simple. Rule 1 is you got to pick a different business. Sorry. You have to pick a different business to do your this project on. Sorry. You can't just resubmit what you did in entrepreneurship. You got to actually go through the work again. So okay, let's take a look. So if you come to the home page for business finance and you click on the content, I have everything kind of by week, but if you scroll way down, you'll also see that I have Project 1 and Project 2. Okay, and so let's take a look at Project 1. Okay, I've got some instructions here you guys should open and look at. Okay, I think it's just half page, maybe something like that. And then the next big one is this copy of financial projections. This is the project. You're going to fill this in, basically. Okay, and I'll click. We'll download it here for now, just to kind of have a quick look at it. Obviously, I'll get more and more into this as we go along, but your first assignment is going to be relatively easy, and we don't need to even look at the the spreadsheet in order to complete your first assignment. But 2 things. When it opens up like this, you have to hit Enable Editing, and then I think you'll find, if you read the directions, okay, and reminder, I always get about 3 or 4 or 5 after the course goes on a little bit and you guys get started. Somebody emails me and says, I can't get it to open, I can't get it to unlock, I can't get it to do something. Okay, you may have to unprotect the sheet. Okay, the code's 1, 2, 3, 4, so they're not trying, and it's right here on the directions, so this first tab. So if you can't get it to open, go back and read the directions. It'll tell you, okay, how to do that, right? The only reason they're doing that is to prevent, unforced errors, if you want to call it that, prevent you from making a mistake and screwing up the whole spreadsheet and whatnot. Okay, so keep that in mind. That if you got to go back, you can go back and do that. How do you do that? You come to here, and I think it's under Review, if I'm not mistaken, and then Unprotect Sheet. Brings that up. Type in 1, 2, 3, 4, and hit OK, and you're good to go, right? Then I could make changes. Just a couple other quick ones, but I'll probably reiterate these as we go along, because again, they kind of gets to be some mistakes that get made periodically. Orange cells are designed for you to make changes. That doesn't mean you'll make a change in every single orange cell. You're going to leave some of them blank, and that's fine. Don't worry about that. Okay, but orange cells, you'll make most of your changes there. Yellow or gold or whatever the heck color that is, you can make some changes. Okay, when you get to the white cells on this particular spreadsheet, especially if you get down here in percentages and those kinds of things, don't make changes. The exception is like here where it says notes. It's okay to type in some notes. But when you're talking about any kind of formulas or any numbers or any of those types of things, okay, try to remember that probably the biggest problem I've had in the past is when students get in there and they start changing some things in some of the white cells, and I'm clicking around trying to figure out what the heck went wrong, and I finally click on one of those and I go, oh crud, they made a change there. Okay, because oftentimes there's formulas that are embedded in there and you start making some changes, even you hit a delete and there should have been a formula, you know, then all of a sudden, boom, we're kind of goofed up. So, okay, if something comes up that you think you need to make, hit me up, okay, ask me. You know, we'll go over it, because there may be those occasions where some things get kind of funky. In fact, I'll give you a couple other exceptions when we get further down the line, because there are a couple places where we are going to make a couple changes, but those are because I've decided to make some changes. Okay, so your first assignment for project number 1, let's make it due the end of this week because it's not real difficult, is to choose the type of business for which you would like to do this project. Here's just my little bit of advice, is the old KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? Okay. You may want to build, you know, the Taj Mahal or something, but you know, let's not do that on this first project. This is not difficult to scale up, meaning if you start with something small and 3 years down the line you come back and you think, gosh, I wouldn't mind using that program to do some projections and whatnot to take to the bank and do something, and it's going to be bigger, that's fine. It's pretty easy to go back and scale this thing up, but for now let's just keep it simple. Pick something simple. Okay, what do I mean by that? It could be as simple as a dog walking service. Okay, it could be a lawn mowing service, right? We're going to do some of that. You know, I got a couple good friends who they kind of did that when they were going to college, and eventually started their own landscaping business, right? There's an example of scaling up, right? So you start, you're mowing lawns, that's what you're doing in college, make a little extra money in the summers anyhow, and boom, you know, 10 years later you've got your own landscaping business, and it's a pretty good sized landscaping business. One partner bought the other one out, the other one decided to go into ranching, don't know why, but you know. Okay. Luke's all nodding his head. He knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so keep it simple. If you got questions, just ask. Okay, let's make that due this Friday. There should be a drop box there. And the idea here is if you submit something that I think is a little goofy, then I can. I don't think this assignment even counts for anything, but it's due, and I want you guys to do it. I'll try to put a due date in there, right? Because I want to know what's going on. Because next week we'll start in earnest, and we'll do, each week we'll do 1 or 2 of the statements, 1 or 2 of the worksheets. And
So is this the whole project then?
Yeah, for definition's sake, let's say each one of these down here is a worksheet, and the entire thing is a workbook. So there's tabs down here at the bottom. You can see me kind of scrolling over them, right? And there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tabs, okay? But you don't even fill out all of them. For example, what did I say about white spaces? This last one's all white spaces, right? Okay. Income statement. Oh golly, that's all white spaces. Okay, so I don't have to fill that out. This one's got all white spaces, right? Okay. So this one's got almost all white spaces. There might be a few entries that we're going to make here, right? So while there's 14 of these, there's about 6 or 7 of them that are really key that we're going to focus on. That you'll fill those out, and they're all these are all tied together. That's why it gets so dangerous when you make a mistake on a white cell or something, because they all hook right in together. So if you make an entry into one, it may well force an entry into another one, right? Okay. We used to do this years ago, and they didn't have this where they were all hooked together like this, and boy, it was a lot more difficult project. This is relatively simple. Of course, a guy that's done this my whole life, it's relatively simple, but I think you guys will find it, I don't know, Carl, you've been through it once before, not too difficult, right? Piece of cake, see? He didn't say that with a lot of enthusiasm, but he did say it, so. And again, start working on it in class. Hit me up, and you can get started, because then I can come around and help you out and whatnot, right? Okay. Project 2, and similarly, there is a Dropbox here, by the way, for that business idea. You can put it on a Word doc if you want, and drop it in there, or you can just type it into the submit. I think there's a little area where you guys can just type, business I choose is XYZ. Okay, I think you can do either. I got snow removal business here as an example. Okay, I think also, I got videos down here that I've done in the past for each of the statements. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I put some of them together, like cash flow and balance sheet. If you remember right, the balance sheet didn't have any colored cells. They were all white cells, so you really won't do it. But there's things you need to check to make sure that things work out. So, okay. Any questions about that? Again, assignment for Friday. I'll try to update this so it shows that that's due in the calendar. It's just choose your business. Okay, and keep it simple, please. Okay, then project 2. And I do want to make this assignment due as well. Let me scroll down here and get to project 2. You're going to do this primarily in the second half. So the only thing that I want you to come up with now, and a couple of you guys did it, okay, I click in here, and I see that I've entered in Ritchie Brothers auctions, which Carl has indicated an interest in doing, okay, and Zoetis, something like that, Zoetis maybe, which is a firm that specializes, I believe, in medications for livestock. It's primarily what they do. Probably good choices at this point in time, because I think both are, they're relatively small in that they're not Apple and they're not Amazon, they're not Google, right? Ritchie Brothers is a big auction company, okay, huge auction company, but compared to, again, like a Google or something, they're just tiny. Okay, and Zoetis, I think, if that's the right pronunciation, is similar. Okay, they've carved out a niche maybe in this otherwise big world, and they've doing okay. You can pick some big companies. Okay, this isn't limited to just small companies, but there's a couple of rules here. Okay, pick a company that's not a huge conglomerate. Right? If you picked General Electric's a huge conglomerate. They got trains that are run right through town here, their engines and whatnot, right? They make airplane engines, they make medical supplies, they used to have some insurance. They've got they bought out Baker Hughes, which is an oil and gas company, on and on and on. Can you imagine trying to, in 5 pages, tell me about that company? It would be very difficult, right? So don't pick a conglomerate. GE's not that big of a company anymore, actually. It's kind of, it's big in terms of all the things that it encompasses, but in terms of market cap, it's not all that huge compared to a Microsoft or an Apple or an Amazon. To make it not a foreign company. Now, we'll find foreign companies that are listed. I've had a few people who've wanted to do Adidas in the past, or Adidas, however you want to pronounce that. Nice, I'd like to see that, actually. It'd be kind of cool, because they've done really well the last few years competing against Nike and Under Armour. But typically we can't find the same information. Even though they're listed for sale, you can buy them on the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, they're listed for sale there. It's just harder. We just don't get the same information that we get for a company that's domiciled here in the United States. So try to pick a U.S. domiciled company. Lord knows there's thousands of them. Okay, so you should be able to find some. Again, if you go, hey, what do you think of this? That's fine. Send me a little note, and I'll take a look at it and let you know. Okay, Nike's a good example. Nike's a big company. I got Nike here because somebody's done that in the past. Huge company. Okay, but Nike's focused on shoes and apparel, athletic shoes and apparel, really. Okay, they don't stray too much from that at this point in time, so it's a perfectly good company to analyze. Not that difficult. The numbers might be bigger, but that doesn't matter as long as they're kind of focused. So, okay, so let's think about having that due Friday as well. I'm dumping a lot on you there, but these are pretty simple assignments, so you guys should be able to get those. Done. I'd like to, and the reason I'd like to add in you know, when everybody gets them, we'll kind of build our own little smart portfolio here, they call it, in the NASDAQ. Then we can kind of follow it through the semester, just kind of see what happens and see who picks good companies and who doesn't pick good companies. And so, you know, I think in the past I've actually purchased stock in 2 companies that students had on here. I'll tell you that neither one of them worked out all that well. I think I exited. They were good at the time, you know, the research was good, everything looked pretty good, and then they just kind of, things happen, as they do sometimes. So, yeah. So I don't use this as a means for finding my own things to invest in. Honest, I don't. But occasionally there's a company somebody will pick that I've had my eye on too. I kind of keep a watch list of ones that I kind of have my eye on anyway. So you guys might pick one of those accidentally. Questions about that?
There's a Dropbox for that as well.
There should be. If not, I'll try to make sure that there is one. So. Okay, this week's assignment, just to quickly take a look at that. You guys were in week 3, chapter 4. We do some projections, okay? Get started. I think you'll find the first couple are not real difficult. You get to the last 2 on this one, and it'll stress you a little bit. And so what I'd like you to do is get those first ones done early. You know, so Friday, if you're sitting here and you're kind of wondering about those last ones, we can, you know, we can go over it individually or whatever, right? Or you can help each other out a little bit or something like that. So, okay, so get after those first ones here these first few days and make sure you get those done. Okay, so you save those last ones. Questions? Okay, I'm going to sign off then, and you guys can go to work.